When I sit down with new clients that are thinking of selling their house, one of the most important things that we talk about is, of course, how much we're going to list the house for or the condo and what the pricing strategy is. And each pricing strategy, I always tell them there's 3 ways we can do it. There's 3 pricing strategies, and with each strategy comes its own risks and rewards, if you will. And because I take more of a consultative approach with my clients, I always like to get to know as much as I can about them so that I can help them choose which strategy best suits their goals and their objectives and their level of comfort and their confidence or anxiety, as the case may be. The first strategy is what I call the old school strategy. I call it that because it's how listings were priced back when I was a kid. Sellers wanted X number of dollars for their house, but nobody ever paid full asking price back then. So sellers would price their house higher than what they wanted for it, or what their realtors told them fair market value might be for it at the time, and expect a buyer to automatically offer less, which would effectively, hopefully, be the price that the seller wanted. I even remember when I was a kid, my friends' parents would list their house and they'd say, they don't really want to move, they're just testing the market. In other words, they want to know what their house is really worth if they get offers. And if someone miraculously came along and gave them their pie-in-the-sky high price, well, then they'd take it. But what's very important to remember is back then, there was no internet. There was no Realtor.ca and MLS, and realtors didn't even have their own MLS system way back then. They had binders with listings in it, and people relied solely on word of mouth and what the realtor could find out from comparables sold in the area through faxes and things like that. So today it's obviously very different, and I always advise clients against this strategy in these days, and here's why. These days, with data readily available and the information available to realtors, there's no need to test the market. Realtors can do a comparative market analysis and tell you quite accurately, if they're good at what they do, what your home is worth. But the other reason is that in today's world, this strategy isn't testing the market, because buyers also know, thanks to data that's readily available, if a house is overpriced, so the ultimate result of overpricing a home is that you won't get any showings and you won't get any offers. People won't get off their couch or spend time and gas to come see it and look at your house. They assume that you won't consider a lowball offer, and there's no way they want to pay over fair market value. There's a reason it's called fair market value. The reason is because the market knows what's fair. So if you're serious about selling and you overprice, then you'll get very few to no showings at all. So if you're testing the market, that's not a real test. And if you really want to sell your house, you're not going to get showings, you're not going to get offers, and you're just going to be on the market for a very long period of time, and eventually have to lower your price, which may or may not look good. You'll sit on the market for an extended period of time. It might be stressful for you, depending on your circumstance, and a lot of work because you have to keep the house in showing condition day after day. And then, if you intend to lower the price later, the listing might look what we call stale. So I generally advise against that strategy. People might start to question why it didn't sell quickly when everything else is selling in much less time on the market. Buyers, love to assume things. So buyers might assume that either there's something significantly wrong with the property, or they'll assume that the sellers are greedy and the house isn't worth it. The result is no offers and a lot of time and money and stress wasted. The second strategy, and the most popular, is pricing at or listing at fair market value. If a home is listed at fair market value and it shows very well and it's staged nicely, and you have an agent that really works hard to market the property to potential buyers in that area as much as possible, then based on our regular market conditions, the home should sell in a reasonable amount of time for, let's say, 98% to even 100% of your full asking price. There aren't the games that they used to play in the olden days. But then there's the question about underpricing. And by the way, just to finish off pricing strategy 2, not only will it sell for likely 98% to 100% of asking price, but in a reasonable amount of time versus the old school pricing, which is a very long period of time. Now let's talk about the third pricing strategy, which is the topic of this video, and that is the question about underpricing. Often when you hear in the news or word of mouth about all of the bidding wars or multiple offer situations that you hear about, and you wonder what the world is coming to. Well, in an active market where homes are selling regularly and buyers are actively looking, also known as high demand, many of those bidding wars are created by the strategy of the realtor who listed the property. How, you might ask? They underprice the property to catch everybody's attention when they're looking on Realtor.ca or when their realtor calls them and says, hey, I just saw a house we should go look at. Anyone and everyone who might be interested in that type of house in that area will see that low price. So they, the sellers, agree to not consider offers or take any offers if they come in sporadically day by day, and rather what they do is they hold off on considering offers for a period of time, let's say maybe 5, 6, 7 days, and they list a specific date where everybody can bring in their offers. So holding off for a period of time allows time for many more people to see the home, to create hype, to create excitement, to fall in love with the property, to get excited about owning it and wanting to make an offer. Then, making everyone who's interested submit offers at a certain date and time means there will be people bidding against each other, trying to outbid each other higher and higher. It not only drives the price up, which was initially under fair market value, up to fair market value, but if the realtor was experienced at this type of strategy and did the job well and the market warrants it, then they'll likely get over fair market value. Now you might wonder why everyone doesn't do this all the time. So I should warn you that this strategy is based on some criteria that must be researched and considered by your realtor at the time of listing. Number one, it depends on market timing. Sometimes it only happens in certain demographic areas during peak or certain seasons. You can't just do it whenever you want to. Number two, it depends on supply and demand in that specific area at that time. If supply were higher than demand, this wouldn't work, it would backfire. Number three, it depends on a high-skilled realtor who knows how to do this. Not only must the realtor know the market conditions surrounding the property, but he or she must also know how to effectively market that property more than any other marketing efforts that someone else might do to ensure they successfully create as much hype and interest in the property as possible. And they must really know how to manage multiple offers and strategically negotiate them against each other. There is a negotiating strategy and also many legal parameters by our real estate association on how to handle multiple offer situations that realtors have to adhere to properly and negotiate each bid higher but properly without violating the rules. So here's the big question. When I meet with clients to list their home and we talk pricing strategies, some occasionally get scared of the third strategy. They're afraid of giving away their home for less than fair market value. They say, what if we underprice it? What if we only get one offer and it's way too low? We're not going to sell our house for that amount. So now for the big answer, the big reveal, the big truth. No, it's not risky to underprice your home, assuming the market has more demand than supply and active buyers, because if you don't get any offers that meet your requirements, or at least fair market value, you don't have to accept the offer. That's the key right there. Nobody can force you to accept an offer or sell your home. That's what everybody's afraid of. You see, in the olden days, again, when I was a kid, I remember my father had a business partner who overpriced his home. He was content to let it sit on the market for months and months and months just to see what happened. He had nothing to lose. He actually stopped watching the activity on the listing every day and just went about his daily life and went to work and just wait to potentially see if an offer ever came. Well, here's what happened. Over that summer, I still remember the market heated up. Demand increased. He had a gorgeous house with a gorgeous pool, which wasn't so popular at the time. And although there weren't bidding wars at the time, someone came along, fell in love with the house, and offered him full asking price. The problem is, back then, when the offer came in, and the seller asked his client what's going on in the market, he hadn't checked in months. Well, now the house was actually worth more than the asking price. But the offer was full asking price, so the seller had to accept it. He sold his house for a discount at the time. But in the olden days, the law required that if somebody offered you your asking price, you had to take it. But that law was abolished many years ago. So the bottom line is, even if you underprice your home, if someone offers you less than fair market value or less than you're willing to accept, then you don't have to accept it. If someone offers you full asking price, but you underpriced it, you don't have to accept it. Even if a buyer offers you more than your asking price, over your asking price, but the market could likely generate a higher bid if you wait, potentially, you don't have to accept any offer. Underpricing a home is a strategy that must be executed flawlessly, with many facts and data to be considered before making that decision. And I'm happy to discuss those details further with you if you have more questions. Like I said, when it comes to a skilled realtor, it depends on your market demographics, what's going on in the area at the time, timing of the market, the realtor's marketing ability and strategy and negotiating strategy. So I've seen, and we've all heard in the news, we've seen the strategy work time and time again in the right place at the right time. But it's also not a slam dunk. I've also seen listings where they hold back offers, and if the realtor didn't do it properly or wasn't skilled at this strategy, it backfired and they didn't sell. So it is important, again, to get a realtor that is experienced in this and understands it completely and is successful at it. Remember, when it comes to real estate or any other experience or process in life, if there was a better way, wouldn't you at least want to know about it? If you always have curiosity about how the market's doing or what the value of your home is or real estate in general, make sure you click on the red subscribe button. I'm always adding market updates and stats and interpretations of those stats and tips and strategies that I'm sure you're going to find interesting and helpful one day. And if you have questions about buying or selling, about mortgages or investing, the real estate market in general, selling a matrimonial home in divorce, or any unique parts of real estate, I'm always happy to talk real estate. Just email me with any questions you have or to set up a meeting. My email is mike@TheREguy.ca. It's always strictly confidential and there's never any pressure or any obligation. I just love to talk real estate. And hey, before you go, I really appreciate you watching. Just click on, right now before you forget, just click on the thumbs up button so that this video can be found and help other people with the same types of questions and interests that you have. So click on the thumbs up and we'll see you again. Thanks for watching.